Pilot. Stand by for a take.
Standing by.
Standing by. Okay, now.
In July
Rolling.
2013, I was most fortunate in being able to attend a filmmaker's course in Cowra on documentary making. The course was designed to quickly prepare students to professionally record significant arts and historical events scheduled to occur in Cowra in the coming months. The course was so invigorating, I decided to have students and their facilitators tell you about it.
Mayu, it's day 5 of your course that you've organised. You must be very happy with it.
I'm very happy with the way the workshops have been running. The facilitators have been very organised with the participants. The participants have been very fast learners and they have created wonderful things thus far.
Could you tell me a little bit about the workshop, what you intended to achieve by it?
This project has the documentary making workshops as well as the Indonesian shadow puppetry workshops with Jumadi. But there are other workshops being scheduled in September.
David, you must be very happy with how the workshop's gone.
Yeah, the workshops have been great. We've had 5 days here, intensive filmmaking workshop, where the students have managed to learn all the basics of using a DSLR camera. It's the sort of camera we've been using. And they've been playing with the aperture, the focal lengths, and all the technical bits and pieces of operating those cameras.
Pretty good.
They've also learnt storyboarding, they've learnt interview techniques, also how to use the sound gear and the tripod. And in the course of the week we've shot a few interviews and a few cutaway footage for a documentary that we're making with the students. And we spent the last couple of days of the week editing that on Final Cut Pro on a Macintosh computer. And the students have been great, they've really picked up all the technical bits of information.
Jack, you've been one of the participants in the Doco workshop.
Yes, I have been.
Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, very much so.
And what parts do you like the best?
Mainly the editing part is quite fun, and also setup of the gear and the microphone and all the audio setup was actually quite cool. So, yeah.
Very good. The instruction given by David, have you found that clear to follow?
Very clear to follow. He knows what he's talking about. He's a very good filmmaker, so he's a very good editor too. So he's good to work with and he's easy to work with, which is nice for a beginner or a learner. So yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Your career in the future, what might you hope to be doing that might involve filmmaking?
I want to be a marine biologist, and with this course I'll be able to use all the things I've learned to make documentaries on the animals.
Excellent. The subject of the doco and what we've been learning about this week, internees, have you found that interesting?
Yes, it's very, very interesting. I never really realised that civilians were taking in, not just soldiers.
Norm, you've been enjoying yourself at this filmmakers course?
Certainly have, yes. It's been really interesting and also enlightening to well, first of all, to see how the professional likes of David actually goes about his filmmaking, because that's something special, and to have someone of his calibre to be instructing us and giving us hints and showing us how to use this gear has been really good. The other thing that's been really good is the quality of the gear we've been using, because up until now my gear has always been fairly basic, and to see his stuff there and to be able to use that, it's been really good.
Standing by for take.
Standing by.
Roll camera.
On camera.
Action.
So tell us your name.
I'm Bryson.
What you been doing today?
Today I've been drawing, cutting out and making shadow puppets for the shadow puppet workshop.
And yeah, it's been very enjoyable.
In fact, the whole team of people who have been working on the course, and Mayu for getting getting it all ready to be complemented, I think.
My word, very much so, yeah. And going right from the people who've done the original research and come up with the theme and the whole idea of it.
There's always something new to learn.
My word, the more you find out, the more you realise there's so much more to find out that you never knew existed.
Yes, and even the story that's to be the subject for this doco was probably not that well known to any of us till Mayu brought it to our attention.
Yeah, well, I think most people who from an older generation were aware of some of the situations that happened, but certainly it's something that hasn't been well documented. It seems that the actual POW situation has been a lot more documented and a lot more in people's minds, but the civilian internees and that sort of thing have been quite a bit more in the background and not had as much attention at all. Yes.
And as this workshop sort of went through, we had a few of us older people starting to participate. How did you find the blending of young and old in the team?
I found the young people were brilliant to work with. They certainly know how to handle all the the electronic gear and the technical sort of side of it. It's just part of their world, and so where I tend to be a bit hesitant, a bit slow with it, they seem to do very well. But it's really great to work with two or three different outlooks and two or three different generations, and you get some really good feedback one to the other.
People haven't
Look
died
very
at this stage yet.
confident, Talia, there. You understand this camera quite well, I believe.
Yes, it's pretty easy.
Yes. It's a nice idea, isn't it? The
Yes.
still camera made into a video one gives you good pictures. Using the newer cameras and having to concentrate on good pictures and sound, it's quite a challenge in the outdoors, isn't it?
Yeah, with the aperture and the ISO and stuff like that, it's quite difficult, especially when you have like the changing sun and stuff like that. But I'm into photography, so I'm quite used to it. So, and also like focusing and getting like focus pulls and stuff like that.
Yes.
I like doing that type of stuff.
And the weather conditions or the different situations you get outdoors, we had a few varied situations. Could you tell me about those?
On the first day of shooting, it was really overcast, so we had to adjust the aperture and ISO quite a fair bit. But then yesterday it was sunny and it stayed sunny for a while, so it was easy because we didn't have to change as much.
And although we couldn't get into the POW camp, the weather turning on a fog gave us quite an interesting scene.
The fog yesterday morning was really good to be able to use in our film because it just gave that eerie atmospheric tension to it, so it was good to have something like that, Cowra's fog, being put to good use.
Excellent. And the team that Mayu brought, they were great to work with, weren't they?
Yeah, yourself and David and Yuriko all being great. They've helped everyone out so much. They were willing to answer any questions that some of the people participating in the workshop had to ask, and they're always friendly and good for a chat.
The depth of study these people have made into topics that are not that well known is commendable.
Yeah, I never heard of Australian Japanese citizens being interned during World War II, so it was quite a shock to me because I've studied history for the past 5 years and I've never ever heard of anything like that. So it was quite interesting to hear and have, especially Yuriko, who is an academic in that field, who knows she knows a fair bit about it. So it was good if you had any questions to ask and she had the answer for it usually.
At the cemetery, that session was particularly interesting, wasn't it? With Jumani also giving us a fill-in on the Indonesian grave sites.
Yeah, not only was it Japanese and Australian citizens interned, it was also Indonesian Japanese, New Caledonian Japanese, and a couple of other countries surrounding Australia, and it was good to have someone like Jamari's point of view from the Indonesian side, and he knew a bit about it as well, so it was quite good to be able to see from different points of view.
And he's quite a fun person as well as being skilled in the puppetry.
Yeah, he's very young at heart, I'll say that. He's good for a laugh, and he we were sitting there filming, and he sat there and he's like, "Oh, I'm bored," and just like got up and started walking around, and I was like, "Oh."
Have you enjoyed this course that David's been running?
Yes, I have indeed. It's wonderful. I'm very pleased I've come along. Mainly I've learnt a lot about Final Cut Pro editing, which is something I really wanted to learn, the Apple system. And but the main thing is I've met new people, and that's in a little town like Cowra. It's lovely to meet genuine country people.
I like working with youth, especially. I like picking up on their vibrancy and energy.
You certainly can see that coming out with them. They were so keen all the time, and it's most exciting and rewarding, isn't it?
It is very rewarding stuff. Yeah. And the students, I think, they get a lot out of it too. Not only in terms of upskilling and learning all these new bits of equipment, but also self-esteem, and they get programs to be involved with, which are great for their CV and great for their experience in life as well.
And what I found most exciting was the way you handled the topic. Most people just say, "I'm going to teach you how to use a camera," but you have brought out the importance of research and storyboarding.
That's right, and storytelling, and keeping an eye on the overall agenda, which is to get clips into a film that will be watchable and engaging for an audience. So really nurturing the storytelling process with them as well. It's been important.
Janami, I have been most impressed with the work you've been doing, the puppetry. Tell me, have you been...
Puppet man!
Oh, you're carrying it all around, and you were telling me you were very satisfied with the students you had.
We don't have many students, but they are really great students, and they don't live in town. They live like 30 kilometers away from here.
Right.
Yeah, but they were very keen students and follow it through from the beginning of drawing characters on the paper and cut it out, and then put it under the projector and project the cut out paper and cast some shadows on the wall, and they were really good at it.
Yes, we saw some wonderful work. Yeah. And you were able to give us a wonderful background on the Indonesian grave sites too.
Yeah, there are about 13 grave sites there, and they were mostly Japanese, and I think mostly Muslim and one Christian or something like that.
The first Japanese who came to Australia were acrobats.
And response was positive from the parents and the students. They made a 6-minute preview cut, which was quite a good exercise for them, working towards the 4 o'clock deadline. And look, we couldn't really be happier. They've been really attentive and focused, and we've had a great team around us, and Mayu's done a great job.
And that's 1870s. So as early as that, Japanese were here on this land. There are 3 camps in Australia. One was for single men, and the other in Victoria was for families and children. They had to be examined, so they go through health check.
And this is just the start of a documentary.
That's right, fingers crossed. We'll be able to get a larger documentary shot within the next 12 months. Using footage that we've shot this week, because the footage has been of a very high quality, and adding to that as the months go by, and there are more activities to be involved with, and then hopefully we can make a longer film.